Just when I was wondering what was going on, Manager Michael walked briskly up to me, patted me on the shoulder and said, "Good job, Charles. You're fired as of today." And with that, I was unceremoniously kicked out of the company I had worked at for 20 years. "Long time no see, President Smith," I said. "Actually, I was just fired a moment ago." President Smith was momentarily speechless at my words. "What about the patent? The company will go bankrupt without my patent." "But since I'm fired, sorry?" All I could do was laugh, and I heard a dumbfounded voice from President Smith. "My name is Charles Jones. I am a 45-year-old office worker. Originally, I worked at a maintenance shop, but about 20 years ago, I became friends with someone I met at a seminar. Thanks to that connection, I joined the same company as him. I have always liked assembling machines and inventing things, so getting into the product development department was good fortune. The person I met at the seminar held a respectable position at a major company, and it was thanks to his introduction that I was able to join the company. Normally, with my level of education, I wouldn't have met the standards to even apply for a job there. I worked tirelessly for 20 years, grateful to him. I built good relationships with other employees in the product development department, and eventually I became the team leader. Once that happened, everyone started consulting me on various matters, and we could tackle more groundbreaking and large-scale projects. As a result of our teamwork, some products won design awards, and we created hit products representing the company. As long as those product lines exist, the company will be secure. I am proud of creating such products, and the employees also gained confidence. The product development department was smooth sailing, but dark clouds loomed. One day, the manager changed due to staffing changes. Previously, we had a kind manager who listened to us, but the new manager, Michael, was very arrogant. He was uninterested in our research and development, focusing only on the profits generated. He forced us to develop only such products, yelled when development stalled, and made us work overtime until we caught up. Our once bright workplace had turned into hell. Thus, my conflict with manager Michael began. I sought daily to improve our operations, but he would shut me down, saying, "If you have time to talk, you should work." Even when told to work, most of my new product development presentations were ignored, and meaningless improvements were demanded. If the proposal was accepted and moved toward production, we were rushed to complete it, given absurd instructions, and forced to work overtime until it was done. When the product was finally released and passed inspection, all the achievements and credit went to the manager. I would find my name and everything else on the proposal changed as a result. Employee motivation plummeted, and some started to leave the company, saying they couldn't take it anymore. Currently, the only ones left are those who can't quit immediately because of their livelihoods or families. Knowing that quitting isn't an option for us, the manager worked us even harder. Overtime became the norm, and we were made to handle even the manager's tasks. The manager would just use us and leave instructions to finish all remaining work by the end of the day, leaving at his regular time. We struggled to handle the massive workload with the reduced staff. I asked the manager to increase the staff, but of course, he ignored my request. Only the weak ones quit. The rest should cover for them. He had no interest in development work and wouldn't get involved or help. The only saving grace was that the manager didn't interfere with development work. However, we were constantly required to produce high-quality products and proposals. The fact that our hard work was always taken away caused us quiet despair, as we were simply exploited. Watching the employees become more worn out each day, I wondered what I should do. At this rate, the product development department would fall apart. Everyone's skills are high. Honestly, they could thrive at another company. However, finding a new job takes time, and voluntary resignation means a reduced severance package. I doubt the manager would let us resign easily. That fear led to resignation among the employees. Certainly, we were getting paid, but considering the overtime, it wasn't worth it. Despite exceeding the prescribed work hours, the manager seemed to cover up this fact. Talking directly to the higher-ups might be the only option, but I'd prefer that as a last resort. I have a lot to say about the manager, but I care about this company and don't want to damage its reputation. Does he want to turn his company into an evil company with all this unpaid overtime? If such rumors spread because of one manager's actions, the company would take a huge hit. It wouldn't just be a problem for the product development department. In some cases, the company could take a big hit, and many people could lose their jobs. How did someone like that become a manager? I love this company and my work, but I can't agree with the old-fashioned seniority system. People who have nothing to do with this kind of work become managers, and they exploit the employees without understanding the job. I'm not trying to deny all old ways and methods, but many harmful customs remain. The manager's favorite phrase is, "Back in the day, this was normal." It would be normal for subordinates to face their boss. It is an arrogance that would have been tolerated in the past. He needs to realize that times have changed. Someone has to say it, and that someone should be me, the team leader. I decided to confront the manager. "So what do you want?" That day, I called Manager Michael to the conference room. Naturally, Manager Michael didn't hide his displeasure, but he agreed to talk. "I have a dinner meeting. I'm not as free as you guys." Manager Michael said this with a laugh. "But we're not free." I snapped. "In fact, we're losing sleep because of you. Manager Michael, you need to change your behavior. Do you understand that what you're doing is illegal?" "What? What are you talking about? You're just working overtime on your own." I've never forced or encouraged overtime. I was thoroughly disgusted by his blatant lies. What is he thinking? Knowing that if someone sues, the company could be in serious trouble? The employees are at their limit. Please return the achievements and rights you've taken from them. Please. I begged him, but all I heard was Manager Michael laughing heartily. "What are you talking about? You all are happy working under me, right? You're working because you want to, so you don't quit. Isn't that right?" That's not true. Everyone is at their breaking point. Are you planning to destroy this department? If it can't survive this, then that's all it was worth. With that, Manager Michael pushed past me and left the room. I didn't think it would be this hard to get through to him. I let out a big sigh. I have to find a way to report this to the higher-ups. Reluctantly, I stayed late with the employees that night and went home afterward. The next day, I went to work determined to find a way to talk to the higher-ups. As I entered the office, I felt everyone's eyes on me. Just when I wondered what was going on, Manager Michael walked briskly up to me, patted me on the shoulder, and said, "Good job, Charles. You're fired as of today." And with that, I was unceremoniously kicked out of the company I had worked at for 20 years. As I held my bag, stunned, anger slowly began to rise within me. I took out my cell phone and called a certain number. "It's been a while, Charles. It's rare to get a call from you." The person who answered was Mr. Smith, the one who had invited me to join this company. I should tell him the details of what happened. Long time no see, President Smith. Actually, I was just fired a moment ago. President Smith was momentarily speechless at my words. What about the patent? The company will go bankrupt without my patent. But since I'm fired, goodbye. All I could do was laugh, and I heard a dumbfounded voice from President Smith. After that, I quickly returned to the company I had just left. President Smith had called me to his office. "What exactly is going on? Can you explain?" Sitting across from him on the sofa, I took a sip of the tea offered to me. "President Smith, what were you thinking when you made Manager Michael the head of the product development department? It's true that I approved it, but I didn't see any problems. Was it because of the seniority system?" At my words, President Smith said, "Well, it is customary. If there are no particular issues, we promote." Was he really a person with no issues? I asked. What exactly happened in the product development department? President Smith's face turned serious at my question. Then I reported in detail everything that had happened. The president listened quietly to my words without interrupting. When I finished speaking, he slowly slumped down. I had no idea it had come to this. "I'm truly sorry, President Smith. It's not just your fault." "Well, yes, you do bear some responsibility." "That's right. As the president of this company, I am responsible for the actions of my employees." President Smith sighed and slumped his shoulders. "The fact that this happened under my leadership shows a lack of control." "And to fire you?" I asked. Yes, indeed. Maybe he acted out of emotion without knowing about my patent, but it was very reckless. I said in a tone of exasperation, Manager Michael probably fired me to set an example, but I've been involved in product development in this company for 20 years and hold many patents. If I leave, the loss would be immense, especially if I join a rival company. It would be disastrous. Manager Michael has recklessly endangered his own company. His actions are so immature and thoughtless that they give me a headache. However, President Smith seemed to have a different perspective than I did. Indeed, since Michael became a manager, performance has improved, but there haven't been any extreme reports of success. Then, looking me in the eyes, President Smith continued, On the contrary, there have been complaints about high turnover since he became a manager. This is the first I've heard about the overtime and proposal theft. It's true that the high turnover rate would be noticed by the HR department, but what happened to the proposals and awards that Manager Michael monopolized? The company procedures ensure that bonuses and awards go to the proposers, not Manager Michael. But you haven't received them, correct? I nodded firmly. Yes. If they had received those, many employees might not have quit. Young and talented employees couldn't endure this environment and left the company. That is a significant loss. Factional disputes are such a problem. President Smith said. What do you mean? I asked, seeking clarity on President Smith's words. When President Smith took his position, there was a faction dispute with another potential president. The upper management was split, and the atmosphere was tense. Manager Michael belonged to the faction of President Smith's rival. When President Smith was appointed CEO, his rival left the company. I didn't have much connection with upper management, so I didn't know about such conflicts within the company. Well, I might have heard rumors, but I didn't pay attention or get involved. I was just happy that my benefactor became the president. President Smith, do you think that factional dispute is still affecting things? I asked. Probably. My rival left the company and is now working for a competitor. His words made me realize something. The people who left probably joined the rival company. I see, so that's why. So Manager Michael is connected with the other company. He's not the only one. Several people in positions must be involved, keeping this from reaching my ears. It's strange that such blatant misconduct wasn't reported to upper management. Someone is manipulating and hiding information. They're probably connected to the rival company, trying to bring us down from the inside. It's a betrayal of our company. But why would someone in a managerial position act this way? Probably because they have arrangements to rejoin the rival company with good positions if our company goes bankrupt. No way. If our company goes bankrupt, many people will lose their jobs. Subcontractors will be affected too. And yet, using such sneaky and cowardly tactics to destroy the company and only guarantee stable jobs for those who helped is just too cruel. They probably wanted to get rid of you, Charles, because you've been more devoted to our company than they expected. They decided to fire you. They fired me because I wouldn't quit on my own. I asked. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, you hold the patents. If you leave, the damage to our company would be immense. President Smith frowned and continued. They likely intended to recruit you after you left. Unbelievable. It's quite possible. They probably would have approached you within a few days. That explains the sudden dismissal. But I'm personally offended by the idea that they thought I'd easily switch sides. Even so, I won't sell everything to the rival company, at least while President Smith is here. I have no intention of selling my patents to another company. They probably never considered that. Honestly, they underestimated me. I'm truly glad you're a man of integrity, President Smith. President Smith's tense face finally relaxed. In any case, I have no intention of approving your dismissal, Charles. If such documents have been submitted, I'll take immediate action. So I'm not fired? Right, of course not. I want to build this company with you. Hearing President Smith's words, I finally felt truly relieved. Now that we were clear on that, we knew what needed to be done. It seems we need a thorough cleanup. President Smith smiled calmly, but his eyes burned with anger. From there, it was a race against time. While Manager Michael and his group still believed I was fired, President Smith gathered trustworthy employees and executives to share information. We identified several suspicious points and began gathering evidence. President Smith's prediction was correct. Manager Michael and his group had let their guard down, thinking they had achieved their goal of firing me. After I left, the product development department was in a disheartened state, but Manager Michael was in high spirits, leaving on time and heading to a dinner meeting. We identified the executives and employees who attended the same dinner. While they were enjoying their feast, we collected solid evidence of improper handling of company documents and falsifications. This included significant financial and personnel misappropriations. We also uncovered the fact that our technology was being leaked to the rival company. It was time to clean out the rock within the company. The following Monday, some employees and executives were in for a shock during the morning assembly when they heard the president's announcement. "What do you mean I'm fired?" Manager Michael and others who were either fired, transferred, or demoted started causing a commotion. "This is unfair. We'll sue." I could only smirk at their outburst. "Why are you here? I fired you." Manager Michael noticed me and started to cause trouble, but President Smith interrupted him. "I don't recall approving that. On whose authority was Charles fired?" Manager Mitchell's eyes darted around, but no one met his gaze. Everyone was blatantly avoiding eye contact. It was clear that one of those employees had processed my dismissal. Now, regarding the claims of unfair dismissal, let me explain the reasons for these personnel changes and dismissals here and now. At President Smith's words, the troublemakers turned pale. Some tried to attack the president and were caught by security guards. I noticed that the contracted security guards were positioned everywhere, ready to quell any disturbance. Uninformed employees were initially frightened by the atmosphere, but as President Smith explained what had happened, they became quiet. When they learned the whole story, their anger turned toward those who betrayed the company. The rage from the product development department was particularly intense. Their glares were like daggers aimed at Manager Michael. Manager Michael, realizing this, trembled with fear. He understood better than anyone the depth of their resentment. Few people can remain unfazed under such hostile and contemptuous stares. President Smith made it clear that while they didn't intend to press charges, if the fired employees claimed unfair dismissal, the company was prepared to sue to demonstrate its justification. Realizing this, he gave up. Manager Michael and others, some of whom fell to their knees and wept, were in despair. It was a miserable scene, but I felt no sympathy. They brought this upon themselves. Given their exposed schemes, it was doubtful the rival company would take them in. Yet, some still hoped to find another job. Personally, I doubted that those who planned to use and discard people would honor any promises. Anyway, the hellish days that began with Manager Mitchell's appointment finally came to an end. I returned to the product development department. I was promoted for the future. Although the department felt empty due to many departures, the product development department decided to recruit new staff. Surprisingly, many employees who had left hadn't found new jobs and came back. It was gratifying to see them return. Apparently, they had received offers from the rival company, but sensed something fishy and declined. They were even threatened and warned others not to join the rival company. It seems that they had told those who left after them that it was better not to go, and that few had gone to the rival company. Manager Michael and a few others found new jobs, but were reportedly treated as low-level employees. In the end, there were no significant positions for those who failed in their plans. Despite this, the fact remains that many who knew our company well had joined the rival company, which was a substantial loss for us. However, considering we cleaned out the corruption within the company, it was something we had to accept. I'm content with regaining the ability to work at a company I like. It's enough for me to get back to that kind of routine. Nevertheless, President Smith didn't just let things slide. After handling the aftermath, he implemented significant reforms. As we prepared to welcome new employees, he ensured strict compliance and created a healthy, motivating environment where those with talent and achievements could advance. He also re-evaluated our product direction. Many employees who had viewed President Smith as gentle and kind were impressed by his decisive actions during the mass firings and reforms. Even some previously complacent executives began to respect his leadership. Thus, our company grew significantly, And within a few years, it gained a reputation as a major corporation.